Let's go through the entire Gospel of Mark together. Mark chapter 4 is reiterating so many of the things we've talked about already in the earlier readings. One, this Messianic secret. No one really seems to know who Jesus is except for the demons in the book of Mark, especially by this point. Now let's keep reading. Again, he began to teach beside the sea, and a very large crowd gathered about him, so that he got into a boat and sat in it on the sea. And the whole crowd was beside the sea on the land, and he was teaching them many things in parables. And in his teachings he said to them, "Listen, behold, a sower went out to sow. Listen, behold, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured it. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where it did not have much soil, and immediately it sprang up, since it had no depth of soil. And when the sun rose, it was scorched, and since it had no root, it withered away. Other seed fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and yielded no grain. And other seeds fell into the good soil and produced grain, growing up and increasing and yielding 30-fold and 60-fold and 100-fold. And he said, He who has ears to hear, let him hear." And when he was alone, those around him with the 12 asked about the parables, and he said to them, "To you has been given the secret of the kingdom of God, but for those outside, everything is in parables, so that they may indeed see, but not perceive, and may indeed hear, but not understand, lest they should turn and be forgiven." And he said to them, "Do you not understand this parable? How then will you understand all the parables? The sower sows the word, and these are the ones along the path where the word is sown. When they hear, Satan immediately comes and takes away the word that's sown into them. And these are the ones sown on rocky ground, the ones who, when they hear the word, immediately receive it with joy. And they have no root in themselves, but endure for a while. Then, when tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, immediately they fall away. And others are the ones sown among thorns. They are those who hear the word, but the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches and the desires for other things enter in and choke the word, and it proves unfruitful. But those that were sown on the good soil are the ones who hear the word and accept it and bear fruit, 30-fold and 60-fold and 100-fold. And he said to them, Is a lamp brought in to be put under a basket or under a bed, and not on a stand? For nothing is hidden, except to be made manifest, nor is anything secret, except to come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And he said to them, Pay attention to what you hear. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, and still more will be added to you. For the one who has, more will be given, and from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And he said, The kingdom of God is as if a man should scatter seed on the ground. He sleeps and rises night and day, and the seed sprouts and grows. He knows not how. The earth produces by itself first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. But when the grain is ripe, at once he puts it in the sickle, because the harvest has come. And he said, With what can we compare the kingdom of God? Or what parable shall we use for it? It is like a grain of a mustard seed, which, when sown on the ground, is the smallest of all the seeds on earth. Yet, when it is sown, it grows up and becomes larger than all the other garden plants, and puts out large branches, so that the birds of the air can make nest in its shades. With so many parables, he spoke the word to them, as they were able to hear it. He did not speak to them without a parable, but privately to his own disciples he explained everything. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, Let us go across to the other side. And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. He said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" And again, you still have the disciples who even at the end of the chapter say, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" The other thing that's really interesting though, because there's a couple of things in chapter 4 that I want to point out. One is when he's talking about the purpose of the parables. Because in Mark, he's saying something very interesting, and I do think this is something specific to Mark that we should talk about. They may indeed see but not perceive, and may indeed hear but not understand. To his disciples, it tells us that he was giving the secrets. But to the others, not so much. Because once again, in this Messianic secret, Christ does not want everyone to know who he is yet. But then just a few verses later, the author is pointing to us why this secret is so important. You see, he says, "For nothing is hidden except to be made manifest, nor is anything secret except to come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear." And remember, at this point in time, at this period, this is some 30 years after Christ is crucified that this is written. And what we're finding out is the secrets that no one knew at the time, they are now being manifested. Paul is writing about them. Let us tell you how Christ is that Son of God. And I think that's so crucial and important, because what they're saying is people didn't know when he was here how important he was. But everything that is secret will one day come into light. It is meant to be manifested. Now let's keep reading into chapter 5.